A major trade just shifted the balance of power in the elites in the AFC. Want to see how it affects the Carolina Panthers and how they could get their playmaker? Find out next on Growlin' and Prowlin'. Welcome, Panther Nation football fans, to another edition of Growlin' and Prowlin'. I am, of course, Mr. CeeLo here, talking all things Carolina Panthers, from the draft to the OTAs to the preseason to the regular season to the postseason to the Super Bowl to the offseason. Let the growlin' begin. Welcome back, Panther Nation. Glad you could join us here for another edition of the off-season edition of Growlin' and Prowlin'. Guys, there was a major shakeup in the NFL, in the AFC, shakeup in the AFC last season, possibly seeing one team descend and another just rapidly ascending after 1 year. And you guys know what deal I'm talking about. We're talking about the deal that the Houston Texans made to acquire Stephon Diggs. Now, we're not here to discuss those details. If you want to see those, go to my all-access NFL show, Gridiron Gab Pro Style. And all the details are there. I'll put the link down in the description if you guys want to check it out. But, guys, I was thinking about something when I was checking out the depth chart of the Houston Texans, and then it kind of dawned on me. These guys have a ton of talent on that depth chart. And I'll be honest with you. There's one guy that has not lived up to the bill when they drafted him in the second round. And, you know, just looking at the wealth of riches that the Houston Texans now have at their depth chart at wide receiver. And there are very few holes, in my opinion. Now, they may not be elite players, and what people don't understand is Houston actually has 2 second-round picks. They've got a wealth of picks, you guys. They really do. They have a ton of picks. Looking here at what they have to offer, they've got the 10th pick in the second round. They've got a third. They've got 2 4s, 2 6s, and 2 7s. So they've got 9 picks in this upcoming draft, and then they got an additional second round pick next season. And when I see that, I think of 2 things. I think of they don't need a first round pick and they're just accumulating picks, or they see something in the second round, in the latter rounds, that they're going to take. Now, the reason I bring this up, you guys, because there is a guy on the Houston Texans roster is going to be a second-tier guy. And possibly he'll slip further down. He's a speed guy, and most importantly, he played with Bryce Young, and that guy would be John Metchie III. Now, many of you are going to look here, and you're going to be critical, but the reality of it is we drafted a quarterback that needs separation. He needs a guy that needs separation. He's not a guy that's overly confident throwing it up to big guys like DJ Shark, whom you guys give too much criticism to. You got to give him too much criticism. You go online and you look at the top 10 plays of 2023. He's involved in at least 4 of these. That's saying a lot, you guys, for a guy that's not even got a job yet. And I'm going to throw a ploy out there right now at Carolina. If you want to save those second round picks and get you an edge rusher, and I would argue that we could get a defensive back or a cornerback. I would say corner and defensive end. I would say get an edge rusher and get a corner. Sign DJ Shark, and you could possibly trade up and get Keon Coleman, because Coleman's probably going to be a late second, early third, and you could probably trade back in and get him. People are not high on him because of his speed. He has a lack thereof, and the fact is we need a big guy. Get you a DJ Shark on another 1-year deal and trade for John Metchie III. The Houston Texans already have the guys they want. Go get John Metchie III and pair him with Bryce Young. And the thing that I don't understand with many organizations is they look at a guy and they say, okay, well, he's not here the first time. And then they do the same in college. Not so much now with the transfer portal. But I would love to see Dan Morgan look at this. And I would hope somebody would share this show and maybe put this as a twinkle in his ear maybe. And possibly look and say, hey, maybe this is an opportunity for the Carolina Panthers to snatch away a team that has an abundance of riches and possibly get that next guy that's possibly going to be the guy that you could possibly pair with that has familiarity with the Bryce Young. And it was on Panthers Wire. I saw this morning, and it confirmed Anthony Rizzuti. Shout out to you, my friend, because you and I think a lot. There's a lot of your articles I use on my show because you think a lot like I do. He puts it out there that the possibility that the door may have gotten tighter, and I would agree with that. But I also, in respect, Rizzuti, I think the Texans like the speed and the depth that they have at receiver. Because the reality of it is C.J. Stroud spreads the ball all over the place. And Stephon Diggs will probably come into a season where he does not get 100 grabs. Because C.J. Stroud's not a guy that is going to just openly just throw the ball forcefully to a guy. We saw that last season. He's very careful with the football. He's very deliberate with where he wants to go with the football. And that is definitely the kind of quarterback he is. And the questions that I always want to ask is whether or not the Texans are going to be willing to part with him. What would it take to get John Metchie? And possibly the way Anthony Rizzuti was talking, he's thinking maybe he may be cut. I don't know if you cut a second round pick. I'm not sure you go that route. I think you go until he costs you more than what he's worth. Bobby Slowick is going to be under pressure now that he's got a superstar number one. OCs now have to deal with egos and they have to deal with what, most people don't have to, not have a clue of what they deal with behind the scenes. Trying to get guys the ball, trying to get, create game plans to get these guys the ball. See, so that could be a situation in itself. But I truly believe that this is a guy, if we bring him in, he's got the speed to burn. He's very fast. And he's got what you call a connection with Bryce Young when he caught 96 balls and over 1,100 yards and 8 scores. So there is a dynamic there that could be reconnected. I mean, we've seen it with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. In my opinion, you guys, I think when you draft a top-notch wide receiver, you almost always have to bring a guy that has a connection with this guy, especially if he's got one of these weapons coming out in the draft. We see it with Joe Burrow. That is why the dynamic is so amazing with them. Of course, having T. Higgins on the other side helps. But to me, bringing in Metchie makes sense. I would be on the phone. Not if I'm Dan Morgan. I would find out and see if Metchie's available. I would find in different ways to see if he's available. We might even be able to get him in release. Being able to see if how the Texans feel about him, because he's coming into his third year next, and they've got to decide on his fifth-year option at the end of the season. I would say go ahead if you're the Carolina Panthers. Find out get a feel for what the Texans want to do, and see if you can make an overture towards the Texans and see if maybe they want something for him. But I will say this, throwing this in there, you still need to go back and DJ Shark, Morgan. We need a big guy. Unless you plan on getting one in the draft. But I would say it would be better utilized on getting a corner and an edge player. Or possibly getting two. You can never have too many edge players. There's going to be some dynamic edge rushers in this draft. Mark my words. But that's going to do it for us, you guys. Make sure you hit the comments up. Let me know what you think about the Carolina Panthers possibly going after John Metchie III and pairing him with his old quarterback out of college, Bryce Young. I think it would be a great dynamic if Dave Canales is really wanting to do right by Bryce Young as well as Dan Morgan. Also go to my Instagram page at Mr. CeeLo and check out the other things I'm going to be doing, as well as checking out the show that I did on Stephon Diggs' impact on Houston if you want to check that out. And also to the YouTube where you can see all the shows that I do on Growlin' and Prowlin'. But until the next time, you guys, keep prowling the airwaves and keep growling out. Keep pounding.